Hello and welcome to Equipping Women. Tonight we are going to be talking about raising arrows. Since becoming a mom and now as a grandmother, a focus of my life, a focus of my heart, and a focus of my calling has been Psalm 127:4. And I have prayed this for my sons, and now, as I said, over my grandchildren. And it says, like arrows in the hand of a warrior are the children of one's youth. And so tonight we're going to talk about raising those arrows and shooting them into the world. And Adrian Rogers said something that was so profound when my sons were young. He talked about shooting the arrows into the heart of the enemy. And so it has been a goal of mine, it has been a desire of mine, and I have watched Cheri Farley, and I can just tell you that it has been a goal of hers. So tonight I'm joined by Cheri. Cheri and Dawn, you guys came to Buck Run, I think a year after we were here.
Yeah.
And so we've had the privilege of watching your family grow,
Yeah.
watching them mature, grow, not even numerically.
Yeah.
You have 6 children.
Yes.
2 are adopted, so we got to watch this
Yeah.
process and pray through and be part of that.
Yeah.
I actually remember we ran into you when you brought Ryan home at the airport, and we were exhausted, you were exhausted, but
Very.
it was one of the sweetest graces.
It was.
It was just the Lord doing something. I hate to use that word magical,
Yeah.
but
Special.
special. There we
It
go.
was just
Special.
an extra gift. I was just telling someone that story this week, actually, and I was saying it was so sweet because Ryan got to see immediately
Yeah.
the love of our church,
Yeah.
and he knew y'all's faces.
Yeah.
And so when we would come to church, he wanted to see Pastor York because
Yeah.
he felt like Pastor York knew him. Like
Yeah.
he was one of the first people to, but
Right.
really the first people were you two to greet him in the United
Yeah.
States. So it was very special.
Well, I consider that one of the just delightful, explosive graces of the Lord. And so even now, when he sees us at
Yeah.
church, he gets so excited. And
Yeah.
I just know it was the Lord just planting us there at the right time because our
Absolutely.
flights were delayed. I don't know if you knew all
Ooh.
this. I mean, it was all this crazy
Oh,
stuff.
we were stuck
and
in
you guys,
Shanghai for like 3 extra days. We weren't supposed to be there either.
Right, right. So, I mean, just the way
Yeah.
the Lord orchestrated all that
Yeah,
was
it
so,
was.
he's so good. He's so
Yes.
good that he just cares
Absolutely.
about such tiny details like that. So, okay, let's just talk about this then. Well, let you introduce your family. Okay, so you have 6 kids. Tell me about their ages,
Okay.
their names, and
Okay.
roll it down.
So Devin is 22 and Corbin is 21. Preston is 18. Ryan is just turned 16. Evie's 15 and Lily is 14.
Okay, so,
So.
so
Boom, boom, boom.
that's awesome.
Yeah, at the end
Yeah.
they're pretty close. 18 months apart.
Can you
between the
actually
three.
stack them in line and it does the thing when you take the picture?
No.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Right. Their heights are all.
Mine of Chinese heritage are a
Oh,
little
there
tiny.
we go. That's true. That's true. All right. And so Don is also, he's a physician here in Frankfurt. He's on our praise team. You guys are just a precious and vital part of the ministry of Buck Run in many, many ways. And so we're grateful for that. But let's talk about this goal then of raising arrows.
Yeah.
What would you say is your and Dawn's goal in parenting?
Yeah, our goal is to raise children who love the Lord and want to serve Him with their life, no matter where He puts them.
So
Yeah.
that is a worthy goal for every Christian parent, and it's a doable goal. And so that's why you're here tonight, is to sort of encourage us and help equip us better to do those kinds of things. So how did you guys come to this goal then? How did you and Dawn decide this is a worthy goal, this is what we want to do?
Yeah, I mean, the Lord really turned our hearts in that direction pretty early in our marriage. So before we had Devin, we actually had issues with infertility and with loss of a child through a miscarriage. And so God just used that time of just a loss and grief to just draw us closer to Him and really open our eyes to several things. One is we are real planners. So like we had the 5-year plan and the 10-year plan. You know, you have all these
Right,
plans, right?
right.
And we truly felt like the Lord had placed on our hearts that, you know, a desire to be parents, and that was part of the plan. And but up until that point, everything had kind of gone according to our plan. And the Lord just made it very clear that, I'm in control. And his timetable is not always our timetable. The other thing I think that became very, very apparent to us through that is that children are a gift from the Lord. And we don't always know exactly how long we have them with us. So we wanted to be super intentional about that time that we had with our children. And you mentioned Psalm 127:4, and so I'm going to read Psalms 127, 3 through 5, which is, Behold, children are a heritage from the Lord,
Right.
the fruit of the womb a reward, and like an arrow in the hands of the warrior are the children of one's youth. And I was asking Dawn before, like I said, okay, this is what I'm remembering kind of how things went. And I said, anything else stick out to you that you remember was just really changed how you were thinking? And he said he remembered hearing someone speak and say, we're raising arrows, not boomerangs. And so I didn't even remember that, but that was really instrumental in him. Like, we're raising our children to shoot them out, right?
Right.
Like we are all to bring glory to the Lord. And so just raising our children to go where the Lord shoots them,
Right. Right.
And so early on, we were challenged to write a parenting mission statement. And so I think if I could encourage everyone to do that, I would, because when you put that end first and you say, this is what I want my children to look like, to be like as adults, then it really kind of sets what you do from there on out. Like, it keeps you focused. And parenting is so busy, and there are so many distractions, that if we're not super careful, we can waste the time that we have. And, really, when you look at the end goal and you think, okay, we could raise really nice people. We could raise super intelligent children. We could raise mega athletes. But if they don't bring glory to the Lord and they don't know the Lord, then we've really missed the mark
Exactly.
of our parenting.
Well, and that mission statement, setting your goal, is really a great piece of advice, because it is true that if a lot of Christian parents will say their goal is to raise children who will glorify the Lord. I've heard countless people do that, but then they forget, because they just think that in their heart. It's like, we want that. Everybody, what Christian parent really doesn't just go, oh yeah, that's really what I want. But if you don't set that as a priority and a goal, and then let everything else sort of do that, you will end up doing things like raising great athletes and raising, and those little decisions will start making themselves happen, and before you know it, you're no longer going toward that goal. A new goal has been set, and they go off in those directions. So I love it that you use the word intentionality, that you're very intentional in it. And I think that's going to pop up in parenting over and over again. So you said that you realize that your children are the Lord's. You don't know how long you're going to have them. Anything else in that? Any other things that drove you toward that goal?
I think that, Don had mentioned to me that he felt like our heritage. I mean, he's a pastor's son,
Right.
and I'm a deacon's daughter, and just wanting to leave a heritage, right? Wanting to leave a legacy of, again, like we were talking about, just a legacy for the Lord, not for us, not for our comfort, not for our enjoyment, but that, that would be the goal there. So.
Yeah, a good friend of mine, shout out, props, Marcia Aristia, said one time, she said, who are you making a name for yourself, or are you making a name for the Lord? And in parenting, sometimes we really get sort of distracted and caught up in the fact that, our kids are such a reflection on us. And so the better that they become at different things, the better it makes us feel. And ultimately what you're doing is making a name for yourself if you're doing that. But just saying, Lord, take my children and use them in your will. you know,
Yeah.
whatever it is, and I've heard you even say this before, they're safest in the Lord's will.
Absolutely. Yeah.
I mean, they're the most productive. They're the most satisfied.
Yeah.
They're the most fruitful. Uh, Fill in any expletive that's great.
Yeah.
That's what it is when
Yeah.
they're in the Lord's will instead of your will as a parent.
Yeah.
And you know, that setting down that very first thing of what's our goal in parenting in it. So you know, you and I recognize this. There's many good things that you can introduce into your child's life to help them toward that goal. And you have to be careful because
Yeah.
some of those things become that goal. And it's like, you know, like sports.
Yeah.
Like sports is good
Yeah.
in raising your children. It helps them be part of a team. They recognize
Absolutely.
all of
Yeah.
that. Music's good.
Yeah.
But you know what can happen sometimes is you start tweaking it and it becomes, well, the goal then is for them to be great musicians or for
Yes.
them to be great athletes. And that again, that gets caught up. We get caught up in fulfilling those little tributaries,
Yeah.
and that we go on a tributary and it doesn't take us along in the river of God's will.
Yeah, I mean,
And
and lots of times, I mean, our God has blessed our children with
yeah,
different, you know, um, abilities, with different
absolutely.
gifts.
Yeah.
But again, if they're not using those gifts for the Lord, then, you know, we've lost. We've lost the vision, right? We've
Right.
lost the goal. We've lost the end
Right.
mark, which is to bring glory to God. You
Right.
know, and our children have done all those things. You know,
Yeah.
we're got two basketball teams and a drama going on right now. Like, I feel like
Right.
it's important for,
It
our
is.
children
It is.
to,
So
yeah.
what we're not saying is don't utilize
Right.
all those little nuances. You actually, those are helpful,
Yeah.
but don't let those ever be the
Yeah.
goal.
Right.
All right. So we know there's really no handbook that gives you step to step. You know, you've got the Bible as your
Yeah.
guide, and it gives good biblical principles. But this, like to say a step by step plan that if we follow it, that it ensures our kids follow Christ into adulthood. But let's talk about some intentional things then that we should do. And what are some things that you and Dawn did with your family to keep you on that track
Yeah.
of that goal?
I think first and foremost, we felt like we had to be an example. And so we wanted our children to see us in the Word, personally studying, praising God, serving God, having God conversations in our home. We wanted them to see like that when situations happened in our family, like how did we respond? How did we see that through that biblical lens of the word? And so I would say that's first and foremost where we started, was just making sure that they knew it's a priority for our family. For the past 17 years, Dawn has gotten up at 5:30 in the morning and works out, gets ready for work, but has made time that he has time for Bible study with the kids around the breakfast table. And again, just showing them that like time in the Word is important. Like this is a priority. It's worth it to get up extra early to have that time together. And so
Pause right there because I want to take a moment and just encourage people. You know, like we have no idea the fruits of the discipline of this activity produces. And we just are so short term, like we will calculate, well, what do we have to do to get our degree? And you'll stay up late and you'll get up early and you'll go to classes and all that in order to get, and you'll do that for 4 years, 6 years, 14 years, whatever it is.
Right, yeah.
You'll do that with a discipline in order to get the credentials to better your life. This discipline of getting up early, this discipline of making sure that you discipline yourself in your life is no different, except for the fruit of it is
eternal.
eternal. That's right.
Yeah.
And it's so much broader.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, it's we can't even comprehend the scope of that investment of getting up in the morning to do that. So, okay, so you get up and do it. What else?
So I think that one thing I want to say about that is like it does. every single, it was just the consistency. There was prayer together, time in the Word together, and then conversations about the Word. And so it's not that it was always, every day wasn't super duper profound, right?
Right. Right.
But
It's a good word. Yeah. Right.
but it was that investment in it, just that little bit, and consistency. But we did use things that were pre-written. Like we wanted to make it as easy as we could. I mean,
Yeah.
this was definitely a priority for Don. But if he was going to have to write the Bible, say the night before or
Right.
6 months before,
Yeah.
and then sit down, we would definitely get off track, right? So we did choose things that were already out there that bring into our home, so that we would be teaching along. That was the other thing. Like, we didn't want to be here and then there. Like, we wanted
Right.
to teach consistently in a certain direction with our children. So he did use, I just want everyone to know, like, it's not, doesn't have to be hard.
Yeah.
It's not hard. Like,
Yeah.
it's beautiful, right?
Right.
But like, we can use resources that are out there. They're there. There's tons of them. I was just trying to think. Go ahead.
Oh, would you just suggest somebody just Google something, or can you what direct? Okay, when you say resources,
Yeah.
give just a good practical. Here's how you can find a resource.
Okay.
Here's what a resource we use.
Yeah, so we used for several years, we used Apologia. They have some resources. One is like, and there's 4 books. So the first one is like, who is God? And then and they're written for children. And you just kind of work through, I mean, there's like a story that goes along with it. Like, they'll talk about people who are Christians in other countries or missionaries, or you just kind of follow that line along with the scriptures that go along with it, and then the conversations about that. But it's like, who is God? The second book, I think, is who am I? Who's my neighbor? And what can I do in the world? Or so, and so
Right.
he would use just one of those a year, I think. At some point, he might have done 2 a year, but a school year, and just kind of gone through that. So.
Yeah. So just also, I think we've got Scott, Matt, Adrian, Herschel. Yeah, I mean, I just go down the line. All of these men would be able to steer you toward
Yeah.
here's some good resources to do it if you just feel at a loss. I appreciate that you didn't go, well, here we sat down and wrote out curriculum. Yeah,
Nobody has time for that.
nobody's got time for that. So you do intentional conversations.
Yes, absolutely. And I would say this too. I was just thinking through this, and like, don't waste the time that you have. Like, so there are so many. For one thing, car rides, right? Like, we do go to a lot of practices and different places, and so just having that time alone, especially, like, I would say preteens and teens, sometimes they don't want to sit and have this face to face. We're going to look at
You're
each
right.
other
You're
and
right.
have a conversation. They either feel like they're maybe in trouble, or they're in the spotlight, like, I have to answer. But when you're side by side in the car, you get to really hear their heart.
Yeah.
And, I was thinking about, like, with Preston, his sophomore year, he ended up playing basketball for a team in Lexington, and so I just remember dreading, because he couldn't drive. All my drivers were gone.
Yeah, right.
And I was like, I have to drive him to
Yeah.
practice 4 times a week to Lexington, and I was really dreading it. I thought,
Yeah.
I don't know how I'm going to make dinner. I don't know, just all
Yeah.
of the logistics.
Right.
But some of my kids have bigger personalities, and they're more demanding of mom time.
Right.
Preston is not.
Yeah, you're right.
He is my quiet. He's not going to demand my time. And so what I dreaded the most was the biggest blessing of that entire year.
Is that not precious?
Yeah. I mean, like, we just had that time together every day, and
Yeah.
he would just start talking to me and
Yeah.
tell me his heart, and we could talk through things. And when, when you're hearing somebody said this to me, or this is what I'm thinking about doing in the future, when you can, turn that toward a God talk, right? Anything your children bring to you, like, let's look at that through the biblical lens. Well, why do you think someone would say something like that to you? How do you think God would want you to respond? Do you want to be that type of person? What kind of person do you want to look like?
Yeah.
Is that how you would treat people? And just not wasting that time.
Oh man, car talks are it's a generous way to use up getting theirs. And
Yeah.
and often, like you said, that really is what's going on. It's not just his practice.
Yeah.
That probably on some level
Yeah,
was
absolutely.
every bit, if not more so, important. And so using that to intentionally do it. And you're right, that side by side
Yeah.
conversation, couples do that well too.
Yeah.
It's like in a car ride, it's way better because you're just look forward and you're just thinking out loud,
Mhm.
basically.
Yeah.
This, you feel like it's sort of like an interrogation.
Right.
And so, or corrective, or,
Yeah,
and
right, especially for a child. Yeah.
yes. And so
Yeah.
when they just lean back and face forward,
Yeah.
it's thinking out loud,
Yeah.
and that's super helpful. So that is a really good sound bite.
Yeah.
That's tweet worthy. That's really good. So other things that you would say?
Yeah, definitely. I think when our kids were like in elementary school, we were intentional to read biographies of missionaries together.
Mm-hmm.
So, just so that our children would see what it looked like to serve the Lord in
Mm-hmm.
different places, in different areas.
Mm-hmm.
And again, just to talk through that, to talk through those decisions.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I cannot enough say how thankful I am for our children's programming here and
Mm-hmm.
for our youth programming here.
Mm-hmm.
Like in the children's programming, just hiding the word in our children's
Mm-hmm.
hearts when they were little.
Mm-hmm.
The Bible tells us that will not be void, and
Mm-mm.
I can attest to that. I mean, that was just, it's
Right.
beautiful to see what the seeds are planted there.
Mm-hmm.
As far as the youth, I mean, having youth pastors who don't teach fluff,
Yeah.
but like are
They're not
teaching the
just getting
word.
together or doing volleyball,
Right.
dodgeball.
Right.
I mean, that's fun.
Yeah.
Gaga pit. We've got a Gaga pit out there. We're going to do those kinds
Yeah.
of things. But, we really do value that you entrust your children to us to help you shoot those arrows.
Well, and
We
we
want to
value the
help
fact,
sharpen them.
yeah. I mean, we
Yeah.
value the fact that you're coming alongside,
Mm-hmm.
and
Yeah, it's precious. Mel
yeah,
Brewer starts so early giving helpful tools and tips. Like after our kids get their Sunday school lesson, there's also Buck Run online things that the parent is used to guide those
yeah,
conversations.
yeah,
So like there's no, if you can't do naturally what you and
right,
Dawn do,
right,
there are people who can help you do that.
yeah,
Like they will legit, our guys will sit down with
yeah,
you and say, all right, here's the way you can guide a conversation,
yeah,
and just give you those bullet point tips to do it. He's
yeah,
got YouTube videos up on Instagram that help your kids, tune into that. And it's,
yeah.
having the church come alongside you.
Well, and I would even say, here we are, we're doing all this intentional Bible study at home and,
Mm-hmm.
pouring into our kids. And then I will never forget. I mean, I don't know how many times Devin or Corbin would come home and say, "You're not going to believe what Zach preached about tonight." And he would start telling us, and I'd be like, "Yeah, that was our Bible study 2 weeks ago." I mean, I'm thinking
Yeah,
this in my head, but I'm
right.
like, "Oh, yeah, right." And so then I take the opportunity to feed on that. But it's funny how it clicks, right?
Yeah.
I don't know whether it's because the youth pastor is younger and cooler and not mom, but
Yeah,
I mean, it's
right.
like we've been putting this, like maybe we were just planting the seeds, but then they hear it and it's
Yeah.
just, I mean, literally, I remember one time it was literally 2 weeks before. I'm thinking, we've been studying this,
Yeah,
it's just
right.
now clicking.
Yeah.
So, God's using all of those things in
Absolutely.
their heart.
Well, and repetition
Yeah.
is what you have to have in learning.
Yeah.
So you typically will hear something 3 times. You're like, right now I'm going to all 3 church services,
Oh, wow,
and so my favorite church service is always the third one because I go, oh,
Got even more. Yeah.
yeah. So now I get it. So Saturday night I hear, and it just sort of lays dormant.
Interesting.
Sunday morning, it's starting to go, oh, I'm getting that. And then the second one in Sunday, it's like, oh, I get
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
And I say I have a childlike brain. I really do think that's the way your brain sort of produces things as a child.
Yeah.
Repetition.
Yeah.
You've got to keep hearing
And I
it.
do think that it makes a difference, like that they're
Who says
hearing,
it?
right? Like they're hearing that it's not just mom and dad who make the
You're
Bible
right.
priority. It's not just mom and dad who say this is important or care about my spiritual life.
Right.
This is important.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just kind of that confirmation, and same with the D groups, like just adults who are pouring into our children and, listening to them, praying with them. It's
Yeah.
I just can't overemphasize participating in that.
Yeah.
Super duper
Man, I'm
important.
so grateful for the D group leaders
Me
that
too.
just weekly are meeting with their
Yeah.
peeps
Yeah,
and
now being consistent to do it over Zoom, which is
yeah,
not easy,
no, but
keeping
it's
them all
like
focused in.
that's right. That's right. But the way that they are so intentional
Yeah.
and the way that you as a parent are intentional to say, no, this is part of your life. This is
Yeah.
going to be part of it. It's funny. I think parents sort of forfeit the right to be the boss sometimes and to say, no, this is what you're going to do.
Right.
This is what we're going to do.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And, bring them up
Yeah.
as a, it's not like set them on the course as a little kid. No, you're continually
Yeah.
saying, this is what we're going to do. No, we're going to do this. No, we're not going to do
Yeah,
that.
because in high school, I mean, things amp up, right? Like you have a lot of schoolwork and you have a lot
Right.
of outside commitments and you want to have a social life and you have, but this is still
Yeah,
important.
that's
This
right.
is going to be the highest priority and we'll get there,
Yeah,
you know.
hopefully the parents are the most mature ones and have a
Yeah.
little more wisdom under their belt.
Yeah.
Well, utilize that wisdom and
Yeah.
maturity in the life of your child to say, this is what will produce the best fruit.
Yeah. Actually, I had this conversation with one of mine last night because she wasn't feeling very well. And so she was like, I don't know. I said, well, look, it's Zoom. Like you can go in your pajamas if you want
That's
to.
right.
These are your girlfriends, right? Like,
Right.
and I told her, I said, I really think that you go do this and you're going to be more revived and ready because she had to go study anatomy. And so you're going to be revived.
Yeah.
And she came down with a huge smile on her face and a burden lifted really
Yeah,
because they
right.
lift each other to the Lord and they encourage each other and they laugh like crazy and have
Yeah.
the best time.
Uh-huh.
But yeah, just even that lesson because, as adults, we have the same. I don't want to do one
Yeah,
more
I don't feel like,
Zoom,
right, that's right.
you
I'm,
know.
I'm just not up for this. Well, get
Yeah.
up for it.
That's right. Yeah,
You know?
you have to be
Are
obedient.
you up for, cleaning your house? Are you up for dinner? You
No,
just suck it up because you need those nutrients.
right.
You raise up to the occasion to
That's
feed
right.
yourself,
Yeah.
and it really is true. You encourage your children. Don't I can't emphasize enough. Don't forfeit your responsibility to shepherd their heart
Yeah.
and doing the next thing, being disciplined in that, you
Yeah.
saying, no, that you committed to it,
Yeah.
we're going to do it.
Well, and I remember when Zach was here too, he did like a little parenting class and he had for teens,
Uh-huh.
and he talked about the book, The Age of Opportunity. And
It's a great book.
it is a great book. And it's wonderful because it just talks about so many people are scared of the teenage years, right? Like they expect their children to misbehave or, I mean, yes, there
Yeah.
are all the hormone issues and you have
Absolutely.
ups and downs
Right.
and we don't always make great choices. But you have this opportunity to talk to your child, to coach your child into, okay, we made a mistake.
Yeah, right.
Where we go from there? What does
Right.
that look like? Or you have this decision to make and you get to start, you keep turning their eyes back to the Lord, turning their eyes back to the Lord.
Yeah.
Like, what is that? What should this look like? Or, okay, how do we make a decision?
Right.
But I would definitely suggest that book for
Yeah.
parents of teenagers.
Right.
Because it is a joy.
It is.
I mean,
It
they're
is.
they're
It's a
becoming-
challenging joy, but it's a joy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I have a
Yeah.
lot at home still.
Yeah, you do. Well, and
There are
your
days that are
span.
challenging.
Thinking of your span. Okay, I could literally talk to you for hours about this, but we're gonna have to roll along. Okay, so raising kids now to live their life for the Lord can lead them into many different things in life. You have a couple of kids that have wrestled with vocational ministry. How do you approach those kinds of conversations?
Yeah. I guess first and foremost, we've tried to teach all of our children that 100% of the time we are Christ followers and we are representing Him.
That sings my song. That's it. That's what. Doesn't matter
Yeah.
what it is.
No.
Doesn't matter what you're doing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And so, for some of us, our job title might have minister or a missionary behind it, but for most of us, it's not going to. And so we have had these conversations with our children just so that they know wherever God has placed you, that is your mission field.
Right.
We are to be His representatives, in Jerusalem, Samaria, to the ends of the earth, right? And so, well, we're here, right? This is our Jerusalem. So we try to teach our children to really stay focused on that. right? Like Pastor York's been talking to us recently and in his sermons about, we'll say, oh, this big thing. If God asks me this big thing, I'm going to do
Yeah,
it.
right.
Right? So same, like if, oh, a
Yeah,
lot of us are like, oh, if God calls me to be a missionary, international missionary, I'm on it.
right.
But I mean, the truth is, God has called us to be a missionary,
Yeah,
right? Like He
right.
has called us to be His representatives and to make disciples
Mm-hmm.
where we are.
Mm-hmm.
And so, like for our college age students, like we talked to them, like the world has come to you. Like when
Mm-hmm.
you're in college, there are so many international students.
Absolutely.
There are students with lots of different religious backgrounds. You have students
Mm-hmm.
who are lost,
Mm-hmm.
and most of them are willing to go have a coffee with you,
Mm-hmm.
to have a conversation, to have a debate even,
Mm-hmm.
but they're thinking through these type of things. So, this is your mission field.
Right.
Like start wherever He has planted you.
Mm-hmm.
If that's your summertime job, then you're making friends there and you're asking,
Right.
hard questions. You're being transparent as a Christian there, whether you're at at college.
Mm-hmm.
But really, like, so for Devin, he was called pretty early
Mm-hmm.
to be in the
Right.
mission.
Yeah, you could
Sorry.
see
Yeah.
you could see his focus
Yeah.
starting to narrow and say this is it.
And
Yeah.
that's it exactly. Like
Mm-hmm.
you might feel like if your child feels like they're being called
Mm-hmm.
to service, okay, you listen to them, you're excited with
Mm-hmm.
them, pray with them, um, but you don't always know
Mm-mm.
what that's going to look like.
Right.
And so for Devin, there's a bit of a I don't waiting period. I mean, right?
Yeah.
You're not going to send your 13-year-old to
Right.
the mission field or
Right.
to seminary,
Uh-huh.
but you can keep feeding,
Uh-huh.
right? Like that.
Let them do
desire.
the dreaming,
Yeah.
the dreaming out loud process
Yeah.
of, they may say, I think, what if I end up, in China or,
Right,
naming
right.
off someplace, you don't go, oh, you'll,
No,
it's like
because you
that's
don't know.
you don't
right?
know,
Right?
you don't
Yeah.
know.
Yeah.
And
God certainly might send them to China.
that's right.
Yeah.
And so, letting them do that dream out loud,
Yeah.
big, broad, I feel God saying,
Yeah.
come, follow me
Right.
in this mission.
Right.
And then it just sort of gets a little more focused,
Yeah.
don't you think?
Yeah.
So you said that
So-
with Devin?
Yeah, and then with Corbin, in high school, he kind of talked about feeling a calling, potentially international missions, and so we weren't sure. Like when we talked with him, we were like, "Is he doing that? Like, does he just feel like that this is your responsibility if you're a good Christian? Like, is he doing this to please someone else? Is he really called?" Because we could see his giftings as well, and he was feeling called to do, at that time, not called, but interested in engineering and those type of things. And so we would, just again, same pathway, right? Like you're
Right.
waiting, you're still helping them to grow in their faith and
Right.
watching. But we also made sure that he understood, like, this might be your mission field.
Right.
Like if you're an engineer, then you're going to have the opportunity to speak to people who may never come to church.
That's right. Well, like Dawn. Dawn is a missionary as a physician in Frankfurt.
And that's his mindset about
And it is.
Yeah.
I mean, it clearly is
Yeah.
among the people he works with and the way that he relates and the way that he's plugged into his church. Helping them see you're on mission.
That's right.
Whatever it
God's
is.
given. Yeah.
NAM's logo does something that's really cool. It's like it does these little, it does a flat line and then arrow, 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 and it's basically moving people from the pew out into the mission
cool,
field.
yeah.
And so it's really, it's a genius logo on some level, and that's exactly what you're doing with your children.
Yeah.
You're moving them just from sitting at your table,
Yeah.
into moving out with it. All right, well, we're going to have to sort of wrap this up, and we know prayer has to be a big part of this.
Absolutely, yeah.
And you don't know what you don't know about your kids. You don't know their struggles, and so
Yeah.
what are some things that you and Dawn or you strategically can help us know to pray for our kids, like concerning shooting them as arrows?
Yeah. So I like to pray some of Paul. So when
That's
Paul,
good.
at the beginning of his letters, he's always praying for like his spiritual children, right? And at the end. And so like, so here's an example.
Okay. Yeah, great. This is
I
great.
wrote them down. Okay, so like 1 Thessalonians 5:16 through 24. So I'm like, if you read this in light of your children and sending them out, rejoice always, pray without ceasing, give thanks in all circumstances, for this is the will of God in Christ Jesus for you. Do not quench the spirit. Do not despise prophecies, but test everything. Hold fast to what is good. Abstain from every evil. Now may the God of peace himself sanctify you completely, and may your whole spirit and soul be kept blameless at the coming of our Lord Jesus Christ. He who called you is faithful. He will surely do it.
That's
I mean,
awesome.
if you think about that as your child is leaving,
Right.
right? Like if you can pray that they abstain from evil, that they
Right.
test, they're
Oh,
going to be
yes.
tested as
Oh,
they
yeah.
exit our
Right.
home, right?
Right.
And enter college and enter the workforce. There's so many things that are going to be coming after them.
Well, Herschel just preached on
Yeah.
Sunday about being cynical, you
Yeah.
know, and
Skeptic.
skeptical. Excuse me, skeptical.
Yeah.
Yeah, that you need to be skeptical about things.
Yeah, you want to question what's being
Well,
thrown
that's
at you.
exactly right.
All of these different.
So test
Yeah.
test them,
So,
absolutely.
so make sure that you're testing, but then like don't quench the spirit,
Yeah,
right? Like I mean,
right.
if our kids lived this, ooh, you know that they're blameless when God, you know. So
Yeah.
I will just take scripture, you know, and pray scripture over my children.
Yeah.
In that because, you know, we try as they're at home to as we can like. It's safe,
Yeah,
right? They're
right.
home, they go out into the
Right.
workforce, they come back home.
Right.
You have these conversations about what they have been exposed to. They go to college, they see different people, they learn different things, they're being taught, you know, come home and have those conversations about it. You're back home, you're safe, right? But, you know, they're being sent out, and there's a lot of things out there that are, you know,
Yeah.
coming at them. Satan wants to distract. Satan
Right.
wants to,
He
you know,
he
confuse
seeks to kill, destroy.
Yeah.
I mean, we really don't
Yeah.
comprehend what a battle
yeah.
we are in. I heard the analogy, and I want to close with this of, I don't know if you saw the movie Private Ryan
Yeah.
or not. You know, when they enter the beach,
Yeah.
they're at war.
Yeah.
But sometimes Christians get vacation and beach, you know, and they go to the beach, and how foolish it would be for us to be entering a battle and expect to just sort of relax and enjoy the view.
Yeah.
I mean, we really do have to fight for our children, with our children,
Yeah.
for the call on their
Yeah.
life.
And as they're leaving our home and they're making the decisions and I mean, so you really
Yeah.
then are this background, right?
Yeah.
You're fighting on their behalf through
Right.
prayer, right? You're their prayer
Absolutely.
warrior.
Absolutely. You know,
Yeah.
if I were to do anything differently in parenting, and there would be a lot of things I would do differently, the one thing I would change is I'd pray a whole lot more.
Yeah.
Because again, God can go where I cannot,
That's
and He
right.
knows what I do not.
Yeah.
And so, thank you, sweet
Yeah.
Cheri, for sharing with us. I'm giving her as our resource. And so, if you just need some encouragement, I know her well enough to know, even though your plate is extremely full, that this is your mission,
Absolutely, yeah.
and this is your ministry to come alongside people
Absolutely.
and encourage people. And I love how precious your kids are to me and to Herschel
Thank you.
and your family. And thank you for serving alongside of us for Kingdom Good. You're a gift.
Well,
You're a true
thank
gift. And thank you guys for joining us. And we will see you next time on Equipping Women. Good night.